Welcome to Exit Like a Boss. I'm going to show you, having helped nearly 800 business owners work through a 21-step process to exit like a boss, how you can do it, what you need to know, the steps you need to take, and what's actually involved in you and your business being able to maximize value and successfully exit like a boss. Hope you enjoy it. In this episode of Exit Like a Boss, we're going to talk about de-risking your business. Not a very exciting topic, but really important. I'm going to explain to you why. The other half of the valuation equation, profit and risk. The risk of your business failing, the risk of your business not making the same amount of profit next year, the risk of an unplanned event, or just the risk of operations day to day, all contribute to a risk score. That risk score is the second half of the valuation equation. So whilst we talk about profit and profitability and valuation formulas, it's important to remember the part that risk plays on valuation. The higher the risk, the lower the valuation in almost any asset that you're looking to value, and certainly the case in privately owned businesses. So how do we de-risk a business? The first thing to understand is there is a massive number of risks that a business might face. But some of them are almost not worth worrying about. Others, of course, could see the business completely fail in one go. Now, what we need to do is understand all of those risks. The simplest way to do this is to actually sit down and make a list of all the risks that could affect your business. Now, that could be things like a delivery driver getting a flat tire on the way to dropping off a delivery, one of your boxes, one of your products, a box full of widgets. It could also be a delivery driver having an accident whilst carrying $10,000 worth of seafood that doesn't get delivered at all, ever. Or it could be a delivery driver delivering seafood to a restaurant without the refrigeration working properly, and therefore food poisoning occurring in that restaurant as a result of your product. Or it could be something more serious, like a motor vehicle accident affects that delivery driver. Now, they're all risks within your business, and you need to assess them on two key things. Firstly, the likelihood of that risk actually occurring. So in simple terms, the likelihood of a driver getting a flat tire, it's probably going to happen one day sooner or later. The likelihood of the driver delivering the seafood without the refrigeration on and food poisoning half the restaurant, that's very unlikely. It's probably not going to happen. The second component to think about is the seriousness or the implication of that risk actually occurring. So if we have a delivery driver with a flat tire, it may well happen, but it's probably not going to be serious. It's unlikely that's going to have a major impact on the business. It might be that the driver's 15 minutes late because he's got to change the tire. Or maybe even that he's got to go to a service station and get someone to change it for him because the tire's not fixable. None of those things are going to be a major issue for our business. None of them are going to cost a lot of money. And hopefully they're not going to lead to any serious implications like injury of our worker or food poisoning as per the other example. Now let's have a look at that example though. If your business delivered seafood to a restaurant and it was poison, food poisoning was the result because you didn't have the refrigeration properly or whatever, that's probably going to hit the media. It's probably going to be a story. It's probably going to be on social media. It's probably going to be in the newspaper or wherever it might be. It could have a very serious impact on your business. If it was determined through negligence or because someone did something that was a little bit, not according to the book or not according to policy and procedure, that's one thing. If somebody did it on purpose to get back at the restaurant, then there's a whole different implication. Bottom line is, there's all different things that can happen with these risks. We can't get rid of them. It's unlikely some of them are going to happen, hopefully. But what we have to do is then assess them in those two categories. How likely is it to happen? And if it does happen, what's the seriousness? Now, those two things combined can simply give you a score. If it's unlikely to happen, 1 out of 10. And if it does happen, it's unlikely to have a serious impact, another 1 out of 10. Then that risk score is simply 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. If it's likely to happen, but if it does happen, it's a very serious consequence, then that score might be 12 or 15 or something. Now, the higher numbers, the higher scores, the ones that are more likely to happen and more likely to have a serious impact, probably the ones you need to address first. Probably the ones you need to think about, how do I minimize the risk of this actually occurring? Now, that might be a whole stack of simple checklists, templates, policies and procedures. In the example with the driver, there might be a checklist that he has to use when he gets in the truck. Is the truck registered? Are all the tyres inflated to the right pressure? Have we got insurance in place? Have I checked the water and the oil? How long since the truck's been serviced? Is the refrigeration turned on? Is everything else, as much as possible anyway, is everything else checked, and make sure that I'm not going to be likely to have one of these issues? Now, we can apply that example of the delivery driver to every aspect of our business, to our IT and cybersecurity, to our financial management, payments, bank accounts, signatories on checks, all those sorts of things, and all designed around minimising or reducing risk, de-risking your business. And of course, as I said at the start, the lower the risk, the higher the valuation. Now, the important message here is a buyer will do this for you. If a buyer starts the process of due diligence on your business, and or their lender, by the way, but let's say a buyer starts the process of due diligence, they will ask you a stack of questions around operational performance of the business. Things like workplace health and safety, accidents, near misses, incidents, vehicle examples, insurance claims. All those things start to build up a picture of the type of risks in the business and how those risks are managed. So I would encourage you to undertake some sort of risk review. Have a look at all the risks in the business, score them and rank them according to likelihood and seriousness if they do happen, and then just start to address them. Start with the big ones first. Start with the ones that are more serious and work out how you can minimise them. That might be training your staff. That might be setting up a new policy or procedure. That might be installing a checklist before the driver starts the vehicle, or before someone logs into their computer, or before they start going down the road of making a payment to somebody. All of those things, therefore, can be minimised, and therefore, when we minimise risk, we're helping to maximise valuation as part of our exit like a boss strategy.